For the majority of my life, I've been fat. I have been overweight. I've been unfit. And for want of a better phrase, I've never really fit in to the world. I've always felt out of place. I've always felt like I was an extra. I was an addition to whatever the real fun was that was going on. I was just there. And of course, no matter where you go, you're always the butt of every joke. You're always, people are always waiting to make a comment about your weight. And it's not nice. It's not a nice experience to go through that. And even if people don't say it, a lot of the times I know that other people who are overweight would say things to compensate for the fact that no one is saying it. It's an elephant in the room. Quite literally, you are the elephant. And so you expose yourself before anybody else exposes you. You make it seem as though you're okay with where you are, or that you are trying to progress to a better state. It's a really uncomfortable place to be in life when you're overweight. And not many people even realize these things because they've never lost the weight to know what life looks like at a lower weight. So it's very interesting. I've lost weight twice, I would say, in my life, where I've got down to around 95 kilos. So I got down to 95 kilos maybe about 10 years ago. And now I have, as you can see from the title of this video, lost more than 30 kilos in the last 6 months. And I can tell you something for free. I can tell you as a fact that when you lose weight, the world treats you better. People treat you better. You will get into conversations with people and you will feel like the conversation is going to go just like how every conversation is going to go. It's going to be as quick, with as little small talk to get the job done, because people don't really want to talk to you. People don't feel comfortable talking to you if you're overweight. It could be for a lot of reasons. Some people say, because how can you respect somebody who doesn't respect themselves? And that is a real thing. If I now look at someone who is really obese, really fat, I just wonder to myself, how could you let yourself get to that point? And I say that being in the mindset of someone who has lost more than 30 kilos in 6 months. So it's very easy for me to recognize that I've been that guy. I've been fat. I've been obese. And in 6 months, I've dropped it. Now everything looks a lot different. And now I'm looking at the people who are overweight and I'm wondering how they got there. It's very funny, isn't it? It's very funny how we can detach ourselves from the memory of how even we got there ourselves. Because it's so obvious. It's so obvious how to lose weight. It's so obvious how to be fit and healthy. It really is so obvious. But the thing is that it's not easy. That's the thing. It's not easy. It does take hard work. But what goes up must come down. And if you found it so easy to eat the food, then you're going to find it hard to burn the food off. It doesn't work symmetrically in the sense of easy to put on, easy to lose. No. It's easy to put on. It's very, very difficult to lose. So it's an opposite. So it is hard. It is tough, but it is possible. I can tell you that for free as a fact right now that it is possible. I would have told you every excuse under the sun about why I couldn't lose weight. I would say, I just had big bones. I would say, I can't lose weight. My metabolism is slow. I work out a lot. I just can't lose the weight. I would get into conversations with people and I'd ask them, what do you do? And everyone would give their own opinion and they would say, you need to go running, you need to diet, you need to go on the treadmill, you need to do weights, you need to do keto, you need to calorie count, you need to do all of these things. And you know what? They're not actually all wrong. They're not actually all wrong. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to tell you exactly what I did from a practical perspective to lose the weight. But more importantly, what I'm going to end on are the mental frameworks that I used in order to lose the weight, because I believe that the weight came off because of my mind, not because of my body. Like I said to you, I would come up with every excuse under the sun for why I wasn't able to lose the weight. Those were mental blockers, not physical blockers. And there is an element of knowledge that has to come into this, but also the knowledge is learned through desire, through wanting to be a certain way and to be a certain person. That comes through desire, and then through the desire, you gain the knowledge. So, all right, let's get into this then. So, when I started this journey back in, let's say, late October time, 2025, it's now end of April 2026. So we can call it 6 months now, a good 6 months. When I started this journey, I was more than 120 kilos. And I know that was more than 120 kilos because the last time that I checked myself was probably September time, and I was 120 kilos, and there was definitely no decrease before I started. There was only increase. And the only reason that I don't know my exact weight before starting this journey, like immediately before starting this journey, is because when I got to 120 kilos, I couldn't look at the scale anymore. I couldn't look at the scale anymore. I was too ashamed. I remember when I got to 100 kilos, I was like, nah, no way. No way am I triple digits in kilos as my weight. Like, this is impossible. And then I remember when I got to 110 kilos, I was like, oh my days, like 110 kilos. Like, this is really bad. Like, this is really, really bad now. But it didn't stop. And I think I was around 114 kilos for the most of at least the last decade or so. And I'd fluctuate to maybe 110, maybe more than 114, or let's just say between 110 and 114 kilos. But things got really bad last year. Things got really out of hand. And I just lost myself. I just completely lost myself. I grew my hair out long. I grew my beard long. And I just kept on putting on weight. And it wasn't the fact that I didn't know what to do or what the problems were. I knew what I was doing. But I still thought that I wouldn't get bigger than I was. You don't. You just think that I'm maintaining the diet that I've always had. But that was the problem, because the diet was always very, very bad and was going to mathematically and scientifically continue to increase my weight. So let's get into this then. So like I said, a lot of the advice that you get from people, it's not that it's not true. It's just that you have to apply bits of those things to yourself. So that's the first thing I would say, is that when you are trying to lose weight, there's two things that we know to be very simple truths: diet and exercise. And what most of us are trying to figure out is, what diet should I have and what type of exercise should I do? People tell you do walking on the treadmill at an incline. People tell you to run. People tell you to skip. People will tell you to do whatever, right? And all those things, like, yeah, they're good. They're all good. But I'm going to tell you what I did. So the first thing that I did was I made a decision that I needed to lose weight. That was like the first thing. And that will creep into the mental models. But once I'd made that decision, I needed a way to do that and a place to do that. And one thing that I knew was that I was not losing weight by going to the gym by myself. So I would go to the gym maybe once a week, do like a 20-minute session, half an hour session, get tired and break a little sweat and be like, yeah, that's cool. Like, tomorrow I'll smash it. And then tomorrow never came because I wasn't in the routine and it was difficult and I'd be hurting and I'd be like, well, like, I'm recovering now, so I'll go tomorrow. I'll go the next day. I'll go the day after. And then it would be like once a week at best that I was going. And so it's really important that if you're looking to lose weight, that you find a coach, whether that's a PT or whether that's a class. I think you have to find someone who can push you beyond your limits in a structured way. That's really important, because if you leave it up to yourself, you're always going to shortchange yourself from what you could have achieved in the same amount of time. So one session for 1 hour by yourself could be the equivalent of 10 minutes working with a coach. Or to put it another way, 1 hour with a coach is equivalent to 3 months with doing it by yourself. But I don't even think that's true. I don't even think that it's the same. I think that one session with a coach is going to be better for you than a million sessions by yourself if you're not going consistently and you're not doing the right things in the right way. You're never going to get results. So the first thing I would say is get yourself a coach. For me, I chose boxing. I've done some boxing in the past, but this time I said to myself, I need to dedicate myself to this now. I need to dedicate myself to this now. So the first thing I did was I found a coach, I found a gym, I found a boxing class that I was happy with, that I was comfortable in, and I stuck to it. And every single session, I would leave with buckets of sweat. My head would be, there would be vapor coming out of my head because of how tired I'd be, how worked out, how hard the workout would be. And I remember the first session, I wasn't able to complete the first session. I was sitting down for parts of it. I even threw up on the stairs when I was leaving. When I was leaving the gym, I threw up on the stairs because I just couldn't take it. My body was not capable of it. But I knew I had to go back. I knew that this was the right place for me. And another thing that I had in my mind was, what else am I going to do in the evening on these days? Like, what else would I be doing? And the answer is probably sitting on the sofa or sitting on my laptop, on a chair, on a desk, or maybe, doing something that I shouldn't be doing. Maybe eating, right? Something that's not going to benefit me and not going to get me to my goal. Second thing that I did was I changed my diet, of course. But what did I change it to? So in the first few weeks, I used MyFitnessPal and I was calorie counting. And I think that's really, really important. I don't think it's something that you need to do forever. You don't need to calorie count for the rest of your life. When you look at these PTs, when you look at these Insta models or whatever, Insta fitness influencers that are counting every calorie, they're putting their bowls on weighing scales, like that is very good. That is the thing to do if you really, really want to do it. Yes, sure, do that for sure. Great, amazing. Your calorie limit is what is going to determine whether you'll lose weight or not. As a fact, you can have 2,000 calories of Cheetos and you can have 2,000 calories of cucumbers, and the result is going to be the same, in essence, that you're going to lose weight. Now, this goes to what I was saying about I was eating and, I never thought that I could gain more weight because I'm keeping to the same diet. Well, if your diet is pushing you beyond your calories, then you're always mathematically going to gain weight. So if you're eating more than you're burning, you're always going to gain weight. So you got to make sure that what you're eating is under the calories, but you got to make sure that the calories that you put into your body are going to keep you full. And that's what the game is. It's not about a cucumber is so healthy because it has XYZ benefits and a bag of Cheetos is not healthy because it has XYZ ingredients and compounds and chemicals in it. Yes, those things are true, but it's really about a cucumber will sit in your stomach and is denser and has lower calories than the Cheeto. So you're just going to be fuller for longer. And just think of it in those terms. Don't think of it as like, oh, I don't like cucumbers, I don't like tomatoes, I don't like onions and these things and that, whatever. Have whatever you think you're going to like. If you have a problem with food, you have a serious problem with your life anyway, I think. Like, you shouldn't have a problem with tomatoes. They're such delicious fruits and vegetables, whatever category you want to put it into. But you have to make sure that the calories that you're putting in are going to benefit you for the rest of the day. So some things that I took out, carbs. Yes, carbs. Carbs absolutely destroy my body. I've been indulging in carbs in the last couple of weeks, just like the odd bite of rice here. And to be fair, I've been having a lot of Pepe's wraps in the last few weeks. And just that alone, I've gained probably about 6 kilos in the last 3 weeks because I've reintroduced carbs back. White flour, bread, wraps, pasta, rice. Those things, if you want to lose weight, you just have to stop eating it. So I've stopped eating them now. It's been 2 days of me back onto no carbs. I don't think that I'm back into the diet that I was pre-Ramadan. So Ramadan really shook things up for me. And it disrupted the diet, the path that I was going down. Obviously, Ramadan is the most powerful, most incredible month from a spiritual perspective. And if I was strong enough and if I was fit enough, then it wouldn't have affected me. But because it was still quite new, that's why it did. So nothing against Ramadan. I love Ramadan, mashallah. Thank you. Please, God, give me more. But from that perspective, it took me out of my routine. And now I'm just getting back into that routine. So you have to stop eating the carbs. You have to stop. What I tell people is, like, eat the salan. Eat the salan. Don't eat the roti. Eat the salan. Don't eat the roti. Simple. Eat the salan, don't have the chawal, don't have the biryani. Eat the chicken in the biryani, but not the biryani itself, not the rice. Just don't do it. If you really want to lose the weight, if you really want to, you can make excuses and say, oh, just this one time. Just don't do it. Cheat days, whoever invented a cheat day must have owned a restaurant, because you cannot have a day where you cheat on your diet. Like, how is that possible? And also, when you have these things, you're going to want more of them anyway. So just don't, when you don't have it, you're not going to want it. It's going to take a couple of weeks. It won't even take a couple of weeks. It'll take you like 3-4 days to get into a routine. That's all it took me. 3 or 4 days is all it took for me to get into a routine where I didn't want carbs. And 3-4 days is all it takes for you to get back into the routine. So just stay away from the carbs. I did use carbs on training days. So when I was training, I would have sweet potato. So I'd have sweet potato with beans and tuna and cheese. I switched my oil to ghee. So I was using a lot of fat. So here's something that I think I learned from Eddie Abu, which is that carbohydrates are going to turn into sugars into your body, which is going to spike your insulin, which means that your body is just going to go for the carbohydrates and burn carbohydrates as your fuel, and is not going to burn fats. So if all you're having is fats and protein, then that's what it's going to use. It's going to use the fats and protein to burn and convert into energy rather than carbohydrates. And so that's why I would switch to something like ghee, and I would use a lot of butter, like real butter, not margarine, in my food and my cooking, to make sure that it is fuller, so I'm more satiated, and also that my body is more used to receiving fat and burning fat rather than any other form. Like, choose whatever oil you want. If you want to olive oil, great, fantastic. I'm just telling you what I did. Ghee. And I love it. I think it tastes delicious as well. So from a diet perspective, that's the biggest thing. Calories, keep it under. And the reason why it's important to use MyFitnessPal at the start is just so that you get an understanding of what you're eating and how many calories roughly that thing is, because you're going to get into a routine of what you're eating. There's not a lot that you can eat. Like, yeah, you can go out to restaurants and get fancy ways of getting meat and veg. But essentially, that's what you're going to eat. A piece of beef is how much? A chicken breast is how many calories? You know, how many calories in eggs, how many calories in a sweet potato, how many carbs in a sweet potato, etc., etc. So it's really important that you stick to your calories and you make sure that the foods that you're eating are good, and none of the foods that you eat should be carbs. None of the foods that you eat should be white bread, white rice, pasta, any of those things. I would say not even brown. Just don't have it. Don't have it. Don't look for alternatives. Just take it out and get used to eating other foods, just like meat and veg. And that's really, really what I would advise. I would also say at this point that it's really important that you do get some carbs into your diet in the week, which is why I recommended the sweet potato, because obviously it's going to be less detrimental to your body than a white potato. And the reason why I introduced sweet potato into my diet is because I went completely keto, you could call it. I didn't go keto like in the traditional sense, but essentially that's what I did by taking out the carbs. But the reason why I introduced sweet potato back into the diet, this carbohydrate back into the diet, is one, it's a natural carbohydrate, so it'll be gentle for my body to digest. And two, because I actually started to get the shakes. So like I was actually shaking, and it was due to a lack of carbohydrates, and my body just really couldn't handle it. So that's why I've kept and maintained this. And I think it's really important when you're training as well that you do have carbohydrates, because you want to get the most out of your sessions, and you want to be able to push yourself, and you want to be able to think when you're in the sessions. You want to be able to learn, especially in something like boxing. So very, very important that you do have some carbohydrates in your diet, but it shouldn't be the way that is now, which is every night that you have roti or rice, and in the mornings you're having bread with your eggs. Just don't do it. Eggs, great for your breakfast. I would say to have your breakfast after 12 o'clock as deep into the afternoon as possible. So if you can go to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, fantastic. If you can go to 12:30, even better. But the very, very earliest 12 o'clock, don't have breakfast before that. If you need something, have a coffee. I would have a coffee in the morning, and I would have water. Those are the two things that I would have. There's some things that I would also have in my coffee as well to make it a bit of a power food in the morning, but I'll make a separate video about that. This video is more about the high level metrics. So I think really those are the main things from a diet and exercise perspective. You need to find a coach. You need to find someone who's going to be able to push you past your limits. And what happens as well is when you're not training, when you have your off days, your body is just more electrified. Your body is just more there. It wants to work out. It wants to do things. So you'll find yourself doing workouts at home. And I think one of the most motivating things is when you're able to push past limits that you had set for yourself or that you thought were your limits. So for me, I used to really fear doing push-ups, and I've taken it to a place now where I can do 40 push-ups in one go. I'm not quite there right now. I can do about 30 in one go. At a struggle, at a push, I can do 30. But I did have it up to 40 at one point. And I used to fear doing one. I used to remember doing 5 was a massive achievement. I used to do 5, and then for the next 5 days, I would remember that, like, yeah, you did 5 push-ups last week, so like you're good. And now, if I don't do 50 in a day, what a failure of a day. If I don't do sit-ups in a day, 50 sit-ups in a day, what a failure. But it's only because I had a coach who pushed me past my limits, and my body responded by wanting more and more and more. So those are the main diet and exercise perspectives that I would say. Get a coach, make sure that you're under your calories, make sure the calories that you're having are good quality calories, and don't overthink it. Just think, okay, meat, lots of calories will keep me full. Meat, low calories will keep me full. Veg, low calories will keep me full. Don't worry too much about anything else. Just those are the things that I would recommend that you do. More importantly, if you take the carbs out, I promise you'll drop 5 kg in a week doing nothing. You'll drop 5 kg in a week doing nothing if you cut the carbs out. So just do that. Mental models. Now, this is really, really important. This is the most key thing for me, right? Because I had to make a decision in order for me to have all these thoughts and to be motivated to keep those and turn those thoughts into actions consistently. There had to be a reason. There had to be a burning desire. And yes, I've been fat my whole life. Yes, I've experienced those things my whole life. Yes, I had that 1 year where I'd lost weight and life was great and people loved me, and like I was getting a lot of attention, and then I put on weight and then I saw, okay, people don't like me. They're giving me a negative reaction and no one is giving me attention. So I saw and I knew that life was the way that it was. Life was so hard at that time because of the way that I looked, as sad as that sounds. But there had to be a moment, right? There had to be a reason. And there was a lot going on for me at that time. And obviously, like I said, things weren't going well. I was not in a good place. And I remember that there was someone that I wanted to reach out to, and they were happy to meet me, and they were happy to do some work with me and collaborate with me. But for one reason or another, it didn't happen. And to be honest with you, I was quite content. I was quite happy that it didn't happen. And the reason why, because I thought to myself, this person, I wonder how much respect that they would have for me if I'm at the status that I'm at and I look the way that I look. Because if I was to see this person, I wouldn't think that this is a person that I would trust, that I would befriend, that is someone that I'd want to keep around. And so I had to make a decision of who I wanted to be. And I thought to myself, and this is really, really important. I thought to myself, what is the best version of myself? Who is the best version of myself? What does the best version of myself look like? What would they do in order to look like that? What would they be eating? What would their diet be? What would their training regimen be? And I had this picture of myself. I visualized the best version of me. And I asked myself, what do I need to do in order to become that person? And I realized I needed to kill myself. I needed to kill this version of myself. I needed to kill every version of myself until I get to that person. And the way to do that is to live like that person. And so I realized this person never misses a training session. This person works out at home on their off days. This person eats clean. This person eats well. And so I had to do that. And I still have to do that because I'm not the best version of myself that I know that I can be and that I know exists in another reality. And I have to kill this version of myself that I am today in order to be that person. And I have to do that by living like that person. And so that is what really carried me throughout this, is that I understood I am not the best version of myself the way that I am today, because I'm not living like the best version of myself. So how does the best version of myself live? That's how I need to live. And that spreads into other areas of my life, because I think one of the things that stopped me for a long time from achieving success in this field was thinking that food was too expensive. And it is, to be honest with you, food is very expensive. And actually, that's why being fat, it costs you a lot. It costs you a lot to be fat, because fine, you can buy a bag of crisps for 50p. You can buy a multi-pack for like £1.50. I bought some tzatziki today, which was £3. Do you know how much I could buy from Bossman for £3? And I just got this little tub, tiny tub. This little tub of tzatziki cost £3. Right? So I could have bought chicken wings for like multiple chicken wings. How many chicken wings I got? I could have got like 8 chicken wings for £3, fried, banging. I would have been full, would have been satiated. So yeah, food is expensive, but you know what? That Greek yogurt is gonna do my body much, much more good than having 8 chicken wings. And I could have justified and been like, oh, it's protein, it's this, it's that. But really, I'll get full off of this and then the tuna salad that I made. Like, it's simple. It's very cheap. It's simple. It costs me less. So that's the dichotomy, isn't it? It's like, yeah, buying good food is more expensive, but actually buying more expensive food, healthier foods, is going to cost you less in the medium to long term, potentially even in the short term as well, because you don't need to buy as much. You don't need to buy as much. You don't need to buy as many items in order to make yourself full. And for me, that is really the most important thing, is this mental model of who, or should I say, how the best version of myself lives. And I embodied that person's lifestyle, that version of me, that person's lifestyle. And my belief is that if that version of me exists in my mind, then that person exists in a reality. There is a reality where that person is living right now, is existing right now, and I need to walk straight into that person's existence and that person's reality, and my soul needs to merge with that reality's soul and become one. And I do that by killing the versions of myself every single day until the day comes that I become that person, and then I can grow, then I can move forward. So if you want to lose weight, yes, diet and exercise, but you got to make the decision. You got to make the decision. Do I want to be the best version of myself? Great. What does he or she look like? Fantastic. I've got the vision now. Fine. How do they live? How do they live? How do they live? That's the part that you're probably missing out on right now. That last step of recognizing that they live different to how you're living. And if you're too scared to live how they would live, you'll never make it. You will never make it. So become the best version of yourself and really focus on yourself. If things aren't going well in your life, which they probably aren't if you are overweight, because it can't ever go as well as it could go if you're fat, because people will never give you the respect that you know you deserve, that you know you feel, that you give to others. You'll never get it back. So if you are going through something, then you need to make sure that you really pick yourself up out of it, because there's only one way that you can go, which is forward. But is the direction of that down, or is the direction of that upwards? Only you can decide. Only you can decide. I really wish you well. I really wish you well. I really wish that something in this video has helped you. I really wish that in 6 months' time, someone can leave a comment and say, I watched your video and I took action upon it. I felt what you were saying, and I recognized what the best version of myself was going to be, and I took actions like that person. You got to take the risks. You got to take the risks. And the only risk that you're going to have is like whether you're going to like the food or not, whether you can maintain that consistency or not. That's another reason why people never start, is because they don't believe that they can continue. But you have to have that mental model of who you want to be and how that person lives. And then you have to go out there and you have to live like that person. And then you'll become that person. Simple. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed listening to me, if you found value in it, then I think it's good for you to subscribe. And it's good for me to subscribe. Well, it's good for me if you subscribe. But I think what's most important for me, like, yes, subscribe, follow. And also when you subscribe, it lets YouTube know what type of videos you want to watch. So it's better for your algorithm, really, if you subscribe. But more than anything, I really want some comments. I really want to hear from you. If you've got this far in the video, if you've got all the way through to the end of this video, I really want you to leave a comment. Just let me know, like, what is your life looking like right now? We're talking about losing weight. We're talking about respect in society and all these types of things. I just want to know, like, where are you at right now? And I want to help more of you in more ways. And I really want to connect with you. You might not even be a listener right now. You might not even be a subscriber right now. You might listen to this video, you might listen to another video, and you might come back to this one, whatever. I just really want to help people because I've gone through a lot of things in my life and I'm here, alhamdulillah. And I'm succeeding and I'm doing really, really well. And I think it's through living with clarity and living with simple principles. And I want to share those principles with people, but with context. So tell me what's going on in your life and let's talk, let's build, let's improve, let's heal, let's grow. Cool. All right. Thanks for tuning in and see you on the next one.